Hello everybody and welcome to the Redmen TV and your latest Liverpool news update. My name is Dan Clubb, as you can probably see, and if you didn't know already, of course, I thought I'd just remind you. Liverpool are in the final of the Carabao Cup. We booked our place at Anfield South last night, having overcome Fulham 1-1. 3-2 an aggregate. But yeah, we got the job done ultimately, didn't we? I want to start off having a little chat about that. I've got a few news stories to get through as ever. First and foremost, hope everybody is well and having a good, positive day wherever you are in the world. Please let me know how we're feeling. How happy are we to have reached the Carabao Cup final? I imagine over the moon, and why not? It is a date with familiar foes. Chelsea in the domestic cup final, of course. We will meet on the 25th of February down at Wembley. But yeah, I think it's a real positive start in terms of potentially collecting trophies, of course. I think, obviously, we've all spoken of and seen a fair amount of Liverpool 2.0 now. I don't think we've seen it in full flow just yet, but it definitely feels like it's got gears to go through, much like we did last night, to be honest. But I think getting a trophy in the cabinet nice and early, giving some of the new lads the chance to experience what it's like to play in a final and win a final, hopefully, with Liverpool, would be a massive positive step and a massive tick in the box for what Jurgen Klopp is doing and what indeed he is building. But yeah, first and foremost, let's dive into the chat, find out how people are getting on. People already jumping on the midfield situation. Guehii is one of them. Says we should sign Redondo or Andre for the summer. The Andre thing, that I seen there was reports about it last night. Actually, I think they come from Brazil, to be honest with you. And I think Tim Vickery was speaking about it the other day too, basically saying how Liverpool, if they wanted, would have just signed Andre or could easily just sign Andre. Like, that is a deal that was essentially on the table for us to go and do. And then Andre said, I want to stick around for the Copa Libertadores. And we said, okay, that's fine. In the meantime, we went and signed Wataru Endo. And of course, McAllister has also been brilliant as a six, particularly the last couple of games. And all of a sudden, the Andre deal isn't quite as enticing for Liverpool for whatever reason. But there's no doubt about it. Liverpool like him as a footballer. And we may well return. Who knows? Nicholas Haycraft also says he thinks the future of the midfield is already at the club. No need to spend any money there. This takes us on to one of our news stories in a minute. Cujo, which I've never seen Curtis Jones described as. I've seen that before, went live, full disclosure, and it did take me aback a little bit. I don't mind it, but it shocked me. Gravy, Ryan Gravenberch, of course, Harvey Elliott, Alexis McAllister, all young. Yes, indeed they are. You got Szoboszlai to throw into that mix as well, of course. Plus Clark, Pacetic, and if you include Trent, as you rightly say. So yeah, I tend to agree with you, but it's interesting how Klopp likes to have, or he appears to like to have, these more experienced heads in and around the midfield department. Obviously, we've seen it with the signing of Thiago. I often still sort of refer back to the signing of Thiago as just being an opportunity too good to miss when there's somebody that decorated and, above all else, such a good footballer available for what was a pretty cheap deal, all told. I don't think Liverpool were in a position to turn it down, because why would you? You could argue until you're blue in the face that it has or hasn't worked. I've enjoyed watching Thiago play football more than I've enjoyed watching most Liverpool players play football down the years, if I'm going to be honest. I think he's just incredible, just so easy on the eye, so cultured the way he goes about his business. However, I see you forgot Sobbo. However, on the other hand, he hasn't played anywhere near enough football for us, certainly not this season. He's yet to kick a ball in anger for the Reds, which you could look at as being really, really annoying, or given where we are in terms of the season right now, you look at it and go, well, hang on, if he does suddenly become available, whatever that looks like, between mid-February to the end of the season, all of a sudden you've got all these young options that you rightfully say, and with Boss, and you've got Thiago. Good God. How am I feeling for the Chelsea game? Says, that is a difficult name. It looks like an Irish name. Sean-Knife? That's... apologies. How are you feeling? Cotter, LFC 22. I can do that bit easy for the Chelsea game. I'm feeling relatively confident about the Chelsea game. And I know, as I referenced earlier, Chelsea and Liverpool in domestic cup finals have been difficult encounters, let's put it that way, albeit we've come out on top of the last two, of course, on penalties both times. But yeah, I feel okay about it, because I think we're in a really good place right now. We're finding ways to win. We're showing great maturity, great character, loads and loads of positives. As I said earlier, I feel like we've got gears to go up as well. So, yeah, I feel really good. And Chelsea, on the flip side, albeit they've still got high-quality players and they can be dangerous, and on their day, they can pose a real threat to anyone. I just think we're better than them. So, and it's not the most sort of groundbreaking thing to say because we're top of the league and they're like 9th or something. But, yeah. I just fancy us. I do, and I wonder whether, and this might be wishful thinking, but there's a part of me thinks we could do a little bit of a job on them as well. And I'm not talking 4-5-0, anything sort of crazy like that. I just think a real professional, well-rounded performance, and it's relatively comfortable. Similar to what we did against Manchester City in the FA Cup until there was jeopardy when they scored the 2 goals, of course. But yeah, that's me hoping. Anyway, good. Now, have you read my agenda? Mark Lang. Good afternoon. Afternoon to you, mate. Hope you're well. Who would you play in goal in the final? I was going to ask you lot that, but this is the perfect time to do it. Please let me know who would you play in goal for the final, because it's been an interesting question. Let's put it that way. I'll just touch on last night while we're on the topic. I thought, as I said, really strong performance. I thought likes of Quansah and Bradley were exceptional once again. I thought McAllister was brilliant too. Luis Diaz obviously gets the goal, but I thought his all-round game was really good. Darwin Núñez was a threat as always. Wasn't the central figure, as he so often is, but what he did do, I thought he did really well. But Keith Kelleher. What it is, right, I don't think last night was bad by any stretch of imagination. I actually thought he produced a couple, 2 or 3 decent saves. But it's obviously the one where he comes to the cross and he gets it all wrong, and we nearly concede. There's the Wilson shot, which for a moment I thought crept under him. But it's beyond that, because his form all season hasn't really been at it. He's looked a shell of himself, actually, because I felt in previous campaigns when we've turned to Keller, he's been really assured, really high quality. Just hasn't quite been the same this year for whatever reason. So there is a question mark, let's put it that way, around Keith Kelleher. Now, not for Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp will start Keith Kelleher. Like, we're sure of it. I think he might have just said it last night. So it is Kelleher, unless anything goes wrong between now and then. And maybe you can get Kelleher a bit of football, maybe in the FA Cup on the weekend or something, just to sort of keep him ticking over if possible. But yeah, I would start Kelleher because I think he's got enough credit in the bank. I think he's a high quality enough keeper to justify his place. And I think in terms of man management, it's the right thing to do. But I also understand why there's a conversation and why people wouldn't, because as I say, he's not really been at his best this season. I think it's fair to say that. Craig Flynn joins the chat. How are you, mate? Hope you are well. But yeah, like I say, last night I thought we were really good for the most part and kept Fulham at arm's length. And had we needed to have, we could have gone up a couple of levels and possibly put it to bed. It maybe got a little bit frustrating that we didn't. And when they scored, there was obviously that moment where you go, oh, here we go. Here comes the onslaught. But the way we managed to ride that and then see out the game, I thought was really impressive, especially when you consider some of the youngsters that are on the pitch. Like I say, Quansah, Bradley, Bobby Clark, even Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, still relatively young players, still learning their trade. And the maturity they showed was just exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. The name I cannot pronounce returns. Let me know in the chat, because I feel terrible not being able to pronounce names. Kimmich will be unreal for us. Yeah, he kind of would. Before I go on to the news, though, I have missed a little bit of housework that I need to draw your attention to. And it is our EFL Cup final range on redmenmerch.com. Would you look at that? Now, I'll let you into a little secret. Well, I'm letting you into a little secret by showing you it, because this right here, that's what I call History 50, with the trophies just underneath, of course, a little jibe at Chelsea there, of course. We've got the hoodie and we have the t-shirt, range of colours available, as you can see below. But yeah, all the sizes in there, you can see all of that. But the reason I'm showing you that is because A, because it's available and it's a thing and it's boss, and B, because nobody else in the world knows about that right now, apart from like me, you, and the other people in the office, because it's not even out on socials yet. It exists on redmenmerch.com, as you can see, but like in terms of publication and advertising, nobody else knows about that. Just me, you lot, and all the walls that we're currently living in. So yeah, go and get yourself boxed off for the final, because look at them. Why wouldn't you? Thing of absolute beauty. Anyway, that's the housework done. Let's get back. Oh, and look, there's a nice little pinned link as well. Would you look at that? Nice work. Yeah, admin boxed. Let's crack on with some news. And I'll find the Joshua Kimmich stuff because that's where I want to start. I'll dive back into the chat in a moment. But Christian Falk last night, before Liverpool played the aforementioned semi-final second leg against Fulham, tweeted, "It is true." He never said it is, but it does make sense if I just say true. It's weird. Liverpool and Manchester City are interested in Joshua Kimmich, 28, contract until 2025 for the summer. Now, I haven't got the tweet here, but he did later on tweet that FSG, good God, PSG were also interested in Joshua Kimmich as well. So I wanted to talk about it. Interesting one. We skirted around the topic a moment ago. Jurgen Klopp, with the sign of Thiago, kind of showed his hand a little bit in... He's got all this youth, he's got all this quality, he's got all these legs essentially now in his new midfield. But does he want to add the extra bit of experience, the extra bit of nous, that decorated, that been there, done that, got the t-shirt? Because he had it in Thiago, he had it in James Milner, he had it in Jordan Henderson. He's about to lose all of that. Two of them have gone already. Thiago's likely to go this summer. So does he want to replace that? A part of me says yes, to be honest. And Kimmich, if he was available at the right price, I'll say that early doors, would be a very smart piece of business. And the reason I say that is because he's currently valued at 75 million euros, which would be way above and beyond what we'd be willing to pay. But by the time the summer comes around, he'd only have a year left on his deal, so it probably wouldn't cost anywhere near that much. I mentioned the word decorated. He's won everything. He's won most of it multiple times. Champions League winner, FIFA World Club Cup winner, 8 times German champion. He has got a trophy cabinet that would not fit inside my entire house, essentially. So, yeah, he's won some stuff, let's put it that way. And, yeah, it just feels like the type of signing that would make some sense. And also, positionally, it's interesting because plays a little bit of right back. I don't think he loves playing a right back for what it's worth, but plays a little bit of centre back, plays a little bit as a DM, can play as a normal sort of number 8, a box-to-box type midfielder. He's played exclusively as a defensive midfielder this season as well. And if we aren't going to go and do the Andre type deal, then maybe we do need a little bit of extra cover in defensive midfield. We've got it with Thiago, apart from he's not available. We're about to lose it with Thiago. So do we want somebody else to come in and be that guy? He's very versatile. He's a little bit James Milner-esque in his versatility. Bags and bags of quality. Played a lot this season. He's been captain of Bayern Munich as well this season. So clearly got that leadership element boxed off as well. As I say, the price would have to be right. What that looks like, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe around the 30, 40 tops £1 million mark. But I don't know, there's something to that. And his injury record isn't perfect. Far from it. He's had problems down the years. But recent times, they're small, they're minor. A couple of games for illness here and there for Munich and Germany. I don't know, it feels like a deal that if it became available, Liverpool and FSG would go for. Let me know what you think. Anyway, I'll dive back into the chat. See what everybody else is saying. Was lost, but now I'm found. Says, make Chelsea cry at Wembley again. Yeah, ideally. KJSJ7 says, I'd start Kelleher. KSO says, Kimmich would be an amazing signing. Kelleher should be in goal for that final. Trust. And trust is a key word in this. I think Jurgen Klopp has got absolute trust in Keith Kelleher and his ability. So yeah, I absolutely think it will. And again, Daniel Ward raises a good point. I've seen a few people mention this morning. If the rumours are true that we will sell him in the summer, play Ali, because otherwise we think we owe it to Kelleher. I get that, because ultimately, if you're playing lads, young lads in particular, in the League Cup, you're kind of building them up towards something. You're building up to get the experience, the exposure for the future. But are you just improving Kelleher's experience for a different club, potentially? But I guess we don't really know that for sure. And from a man management standpoint, it just, Klopp, I think he'd be very loath to drop Keith Kelleher. What does that do to Keith Kelleher between now and the end of the season? You might need him again. Who knows? Like, God forbid, Alisson picked up a problem. He fell ill for a game, whatever. You might have to call on Kelleher again. Kelleher's been the keeper for the Europa League as well up until this point. That might change, of course. But if you drop him for the Carabao Cup and then you ask him to play a Europa League game in a few weeks' time further down the line, where's his head at by then? So, yeah, it does feel like it will be Kelleher. But again, people here saying play Alisson. And it's easy. It's not easy. But, of course, it's a very sensible approach to play Alisson, because not only is he better than Keith Kelleher, he's the best goalkeeper in the world. So you're in a final that you want to win, there's a trophy at stake, play Alisson. And you could say the same for the entire squad, because the likes of Conor Bradley, of course, Jarell Quansah a little bit, Joe Gomez at left back. There's been a lot of Kay Gordon played in that Carabao Cup semi-final rather, and then didn't play in the final. So the lads who you often trust to get you so far, then you go full strength for the actual showpiece event. So it's done a lot, but less so with the goalkeeper, I would say. Less so with the goalkeeper. Yeah, I agree for what it's worth, Dan. I do. Kay says he deserves his place in the final. Good evening, Dan. I have a hunch that's a little dig at a certain manager. What do you think of the rumours of Koa Katora? Interesting one. A bit of a cut price type signing. Out of all the centre-backs we've been linked with, Itakura isn't the one that excites me, I wouldn't say. And that's no disrespect to him. I'm sure he'd come in and do a very, very good job. I don't really doubt that. It's not the one that gets me off my seat and goes, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like, if it was sort of, say we needed to panic buy someone like we have done in years gone by at this particular stage of a January transfer window, that type of deal would maybe reach out to me a little bit more, I think it's fair to say. Again, I think it'd be a smart signing, but I think there's different centre-back options out there that would make me think, okay, we really mean business here. We are planning for our future. We're sort of future-proofing what we're doing for years and years to come. I think Antonio Silva, Ousmane Diomande, Gonzalo Inacio a little bit, those type of players would give me that as opposed to Itakura. But again, if we signed him, I'd absolutely back him to the hilt and have no doubt that he would become a very important player for Liverpool, because more often than not, our signings become that. Edward asks, one of our members here, hey Dan, Manchester City, I've seen that signing. Yeah, Claudio Echeverri. Do you think we might get a sneaky signing in before deadline day? I'd like to think so. To be honest, I've made it perfectly clear numerous times on these shows. I would love us to do a bit of business, ideally in the centre-back department, actually. But do I think it will happen? No, I don't. I think how quiet the transfer window's been in general across the board, not just at Liverpool, has been really interesting. I think the profit and sustainability bite has spooked a few clubs, let's put it that way. But yeah, I don't think Liverpool do anything. I don't think it spooked Liverpool, by the way. I just think we're acting as we always do with this type of situation. I still maintain if we had a problem, an issue in terms of anyone, personnel-wise, certainly in the defensive department, that might spark us into life in terms of doing a bit of business. And also, let's just say one of the lads I just mentioned there, Antonio Silva, Inacio, Diomande, whoever, if one of them was our chosen option and Manchester City, to use them as the example, suddenly made a move for him, I think that might spur us into doing something, because we don't like to miss out on our targets, do we? If we've earmarked somebody as the right guy and all of a sudden one of our rivals goes for him, that won't go down well at Liverpool. So that might be a reason we do something as well. But as it stands right now, I'm not entirely sure we will do any business. But again, I hope we do, because I don't see a situation whereby we wouldn't improve and have a better chance of winning all the trophies available to us if we were to sign someone. Let's put it like that. And on that note, actually, I will pop on to the next piece of news before I carry on chatting to you all. And it comes from, let me just check I got the right article. Yes, I do. Get in. I mean, adverts and videos are absolutely ruining my life right now on this website, but we will persevere. According to the Mirror, Liverpool have placed Mark Guehi at the top of the transfer wish list to replace the injured Joel Matip. And the first paragraph is all I read here, because again, just look at the advert. There's Frank Lampard there smiling. I imagine 5 seconds earlier he was doing a very serious face, or vice versa. Liverpool have put buying a new centre-half at the top of their shopping list. Liverpool were looking at bringing in the successor to Joel Matip even before he suffered a season-ending anterior cruciate ligament injury at the start of December, because he's out of contract in the summer. There was another line I wanted to read. Let me try and find it. How has that gone? Have they changed this article since I read it like half an hour ago? Anyway, basically, Liverpool want to sign Mark Guehi, and he's our number one target, according to this report. What do we think about that? Mark Guehi, interesting one. Clearly, homegrown, Premier League proven, some boxes ticked there. Plays on the left side of the defence as well. 9 England caps. He's currently 23. I think a lot would be price dependent on him as well. I remember being linked to Mark Guehi back in the summer, and I think Palace were demanding like 60, 70 million. I don't know about that. But yeah, I think it would be a good option for us. Again, I don't think it's the one I would choose if I had my way personally. And that's not to say he's not a very good player and he's not ready to come in and definitely do a job for Liverpool. I'm not sure he's the long-term successor to Joel Matip, to Virgil van Dijk. I'm not sure he's of Ibu Konate's level either. So, you know, not necessarily completely sold on him, I think it's fair to say. But if he was to come in for around the 30 to 40 million again, I'd be okay with that. I could live with that. But I just think Liverpool is shopping in a slightly different market for our centre-back. It feels like we need somebody who's going to be the guy to replace Matip, Van Dijk, and be the one to stick around for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years even. I'm not sure Guehi quite ticks all those boxes. Let's dive into the chat again before I carry on talking about Mark Guehi. Noah says 30 or 40 million euros, considering we do have a close relationship with Bayern. We've done a fair amount of business with them. Yeah, it will be a summer deal. Absolutely. He's going nowhere right now. Bayern Munich lost Upamecano last night, didn't they, as well? He got injured for quite a prolonged period of time. And Conrad Lima as well, I think he's out. So there's no way Bayern Munich are selling Joshua Kimmich right now. Haven't we learned from Thiago? Kimmich will be the same for us. Yeah, quite possibly. I'm relatively more positive and optimistic that if we were to sign somebody like Kimmich, he would be able to stay fit. But listen, you could be right. I could be wrong, because that's kind of how it works. Joseph says you play Alisson in goal for the final. And again, there's no right or wrong answer to this, I don't think, because Kelleher feels like the not the safe choice. He's the opposite of the safe choice. He feels like the sentimental choice a little bit, and the one that makes sense given he's had the whole competition so far. But Alisson being the best goalkeeper in the world, there's no wrong answer, basically. KJSJ says Kelleher needs a 2-year loan deal. I feel like we can't let him go for good after learning from the best, and he's suited to how we play. Interesting. Yeah, I think the Chelsea that with Courtois sent him out on loan for 2 years. I think Atletico Madrid, wasn't it? And then got him back, and it didn't do him much harm, really, did it? He's an incredible goalkeeper, as we learned to our detriment in the Champions League final, of course. What's the latest on Salah? Not heard anything for a few days on Salah. Last sort of timeline given was 21 to 28 days, which will take us up and beyond the Arsenal game, of course, which is a blow, but having been contention for sort of the games thereafter, which is good. And I imagine, well, he's definitely going to be, if that timeline's right, he'll definitely be available for the final, for the Carabao Cup final, providing Egypt don't reach the AFCON final, because that's the other sort of spanner in this works. If Mo Salah gets fit and Egypt reach the Carabao, Egypt will not reach the Carabao Cup final. If Egypt reach the AFCON final, Salah could head back to the Ivory Coast and play in that. So, yeah, watch this space on that one. Yeah, I agree with you. Scouse Car Park Kids, our academy and the use of the academy has been exceptional this year. I think even Bobby Clark's cameo and the trust Jurgen Klopp has in Bobby Clark and indeed the other academy kids to throw him into these types of games, these environments, when the game's still in the balance, just proves how talented they are and how ready they are as well to play first team minutes for Liverpool, which is testament to everybody's work at the academy, basically. I wanted to say, actually, last week I spoke to Anthony Godfrey, who spent 12 years working at Liverpool's academy. That's on Redmen Plus now. There's a little bit on YouTube as well. And also, we're speaking about centre-backs a moment ago. I'm speaking to the brilliant Kevin Hatchard tomorrow, which will be out on Redmen Plus as well, about all of the centre-backs we've been linked to, the ones who play their football, who ply their trade in Europe anyway, not Mark Guehi. He might get mentioned in passing, but I want to find out more about all of them. The likes of Itakura, as we mentioned earlier, Inacio, Diamande, etc., Jean-Claire Todibo, all of them, just to find out which one feels like they suit Liverpool most. Let's put it that way. Sound. I'll dive back into the chat. Moranfa said, there's no room for sentiment. Play your best 11. History only records the winners. Okay, I like that attitude. Very stern. Very, very stern. Emma, yes, and that needs to happen. But if I'm being really honest, I turned up to do this show like 2 minutes before it went live, and I did not do that. But yeah, absolutely spot on, because the adverts, you know what, not even that bad on the Mirror. Like, they're worse on some sites. I'm looking at you. Any Reach website. Next is for when a City are going to be relegated, we can pick up Ruben Diaz or a Kanji off them. Yeah, absolutely. Dan, here we go. Mike Andrew. Dan, do you think the quiet window is down to a lot of the clubs waiting to see if they're on the FA's FFP list? Yeah, I think what's happened to Everton, particularly, and Nottingham Forest a little bit as well, will have spooked, like I say, quite a few of the clubs in the round, and we don't know how many of them are sailing close to the wind when it comes to their thresholds, when it comes to what they're allowed to spend. But also, I think a lot of clubs are just sort of quite happy and content with what they've got. I think Liverpool fall into that category most definitely. But it is surprising how the teams in and around the relegation zone in particular, even they're not doing loads of business. So you do have to question whether they're in danger of picking up any points penalties. Have they got any money to spend? Who knows? But the fact that they're so flirting with danger, some of them, and unwilling to sort of pay their way out of it, which so often happens. I know Sheffield United signed Ben Brereton Diaz on loan in an attempt to sort of score their way out of trouble. But normally, this time of year, you'd be getting deals left, right and centre down the bottom. Like, it's not unusual for clubs to bring in 4, 5, 6 players if it's going to try and help them survive. But for whatever reason, this window, it just isn't happening. It doesn't even feel like we're in a transfer window, does it, to be honest? Apart from me coming here every day and telling you Liverpool are interested in certain players, it really doesn't feel like a transfer window. Quadboard, my mate, how are we? Yes, I did indeed. So I don't want to go on about my life too much because nobody wants to hear it, but I left this studio about midnight last night, got about 4 hours sleep, I think, and got up and watched some of the cricket, went to the gym, carried on watching the cricket in the gym, came to work like 7 o'clock this morning, did some more watching the cricket, did a little bit of work. So yeah, I have been watching it. England's, unsurprisingly, are in a little bit of bother after the spinners, Tom Hartley included, who is from round here, basically, and plays for Lancashire, who I obviously quite like, got a little bit of tap on his England debut, I think it's fair to say. Didn't go exactly to plan, him opening the bowling, but tomorrow is another day and all that. I'll start to wrap up now, as ever. Well, I did want to touch on Mark Guehi so slightly more. He's averaging 6.92 on SofaScore this season in terms of his performances, which is pretty high, to be honest with you. Anything in and around the sevens is quite impressive, and his heat map is all sort of the left-hand side of the defence. So in terms of stylistically, as I mentioned, he would be one that makes some sense for us. I just scroll down so you can actually see what I'm talking about as well, right there. Started 20 games as well, played 90 minutes every single time. So in terms of his durability, he has that, and it's just decided to refresh on me for absolutely no reason. There we go. So he's got very good durability, which is nice to know. I'll just carry on scrolling down. What competition are we in here? His attacking numbers are absolutely abysmal. I just seen all them 0. Okay, it's because he's not scored. Okay, he got 1 assist. Forget about him assisting people. Defending, there we go. 1.2 tackles per game, 4.2 clearances, 5.3 balls recovered. So yeah, I like him. I do like him. I can't get mad excited about Mark Guehi. I just can't. I'd love to, but I can't, as you can probably tell by my voice. I thought you meant the final then. Good God. Don't do that to me. I mean, it's grim enough him being on the one in midweek. Super chat, by the way, from Butter Knight. Thank you very much, buddy. Listen, it's a joke. And it's almost as if, I mean, Sky Sports did it last night with Mikel Antonio. It's almost as if they're like literally looking through our Twitter, like the Liverpool timeline, and going, what's pissing them off the most right now? Okay, Paul Tierney is really doing their head in as a ref. Jurgen Klopp can't stand him, quite clearly. Let's put him on more Liverpool games in any capacity. Reffing, VAR, fucking putting the corner flags in. Let's just get him on him. And Sky then have the audacity. What has Mikel Antonio got to do with that game last night? Like, never played for Fulham, never played for Liverpool. And he's actively come out and said in recent weeks he wants Liverpool to fail, essentially, when it comes to win the Premier League. And yet they stick him on punditry duty. I mean, I'm all for more Daniel Sturridge in my life, but Mikel Antonio, what a bad... I've never seen him do punditry, ever. I know he's doing like his podcast and all that, the Footballers podcast, is it called, or something. Forgive me, that was quite rude, not knowing the name. But Yeah, it did me head in, as you can probably tell. Anyway, I'll rattle through the rest of the news now before I do disappear, because I'm aware I just start. Yeah, maybe that, mate. To be honest with you, maybe that. Probably a good shout. But I feel like I didn't round off my cricket chat a moment ago. Sorry as well. I did watch quite a lot of it, and it was really enjoyable. But England and India, England in the subcontinent, so hard to win out there. It really is. Yeah, I'll just make sure I've not missed anything. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Wow. My uncle and cousin play for Pakistan. Give me names before I go. We might just have time to get them in. Yeah, like cricket, play cricket. And I know somebody's seen the arms from me talking too much cricket on there before, so I won't go on. And I say sorry about that. But I do have somebody really interesting coming in next week who has a connection to football and cricket. So keep an eye out for that, people who like both. No, I don't. But I love this job. So I sit here and talk to you wonderful people about football for a living. I can have no complaints in life whatsoever. Like, when it comes to dream jobs, there's moments whereby you're tired and it's hard and it becomes graft, especially last season. But listen, I really can't complain too much, can I? Who is the best pundit? That's a good question. I could be really biased and say Carragher, but I think it might be Carragher. So I'm going to say that. And if you're watching, Jamie, how you doing, mate? Scouse Cop says, would Simon Jordan? Okay, interesting. Chris, I'm not a big Chris man, to be honest with you. If I was going to work for any food, it would probably be hummus. But when it comes to being sidetracked, that's about as sidetracked as you get. So I will quickly run through the news, and I'll let you all crack on with your days, because, I mean, what am I on about? Somebody shout something then? What? Oh, is he giving you the names? Oh, here we go. Bill Al-Asif. Okay, yes. I mean, as highlights go, thank you, Joe. As highlights go, getting a fifer against Australia is up there with as good as it can possibly be. Anyone who is into cricket, and I appreciate this has gone very cricket related now. I once got Wasim Jaffer out, who played 30 odd times for India, so go me. Go me. Sound. Loads of people saying, Chris Burley. I thought it was Craig, but I don't know who Chris Burley is. Do I know who Chris Burley is? Anyway, yeah, I tend to agree with this, by the way, for what it's worth. Yes, Craig Burley, thank you. I didn't know who Chris Burley was. I thought I was going mad then for a second. Sound, boss, news, as I was saying, buy now 50 cup final jumpers, hoodies, t-shirts. They're on redmenmerch.com. Make sure you do. It's fine next to us, by the way. I've seen it. It's fine. It's no issue whatsoever. I just got a little bit confused. Yeah. Liverpool are in the final of the Carabao Cup, which is just boss, isn't it, to be honest with you? We will play Chelsea, of course. Hopefully we get the job done in 90 minutes this time. Wouldn't that just be lovely? Liverpool reportedly interested in Josuha Kimmich, quad bod. McCoist is a good shout. He just loves it as well, doesn't he? Reportedly interested in Josuha Kimmich, as are Manchester City, as are PSG. It would be a move for the summer, and it's a move that I would quite like to see happen, forgive me. Mark Guehi as well. Liverpool have reportedly put the Crystal Palace centre-back at the top of our transfer wish list when it comes to replacing Joel Matip. Very good player, Premier League proven. Don't know if he's the answer necessarily. And I didn't talk about these things, but I'm going to quickly tell you now anyway. Leeds United, Cardiff City and Blackburn Rovers all want Nat Phillips on loan. Please go and play some football somewhere. Out of them, I'd most like to see him go to Blackburn because it's only like an hour away. I can go and watch him play, which is nice. Although I do like Leeds and I do like going to Ellen Road, so maybe there as well. And Calvin Ramsey, Southampton and Leeds are reportedly interested in taking Calvin Ramsey on loan. And I mentioned that Phillips needs to go and play football. Calvin Ramsey really needs to go and play football. So please, please do. And out of those two, I'd like it to go to Leeds. Sound. Boss, I think that's everything done. No to Mavropanos, by the way. I've just seen that. No. I haven't seen the rumours either, to be honest with you. I will be having a look at that the minute I've left you, though. Happy days. Thank you very much for getting involved, as ever. Daniel Ward, I won't be going for a nap. It's nearly home time. I'll probably have another coffee in like half an hour and all will be well. I will be going to bed early tonight, though. Don't worry about that. Sound, you guys are all the best, honestly. Thank you for getting involved. It is much, much appreciated. If you want to get involved even more, head to redmenplus.com, sign up as a captain subscriber, and use the code CLOP. You'll get a month free, and if you don't like it, bin it off. If you do like it, stick around because you have lots of fun. And listen, right? I don't know if you've noticed, but Liverpool are boss. We are the absolute business. We've still got loads to come. We've got players coming back left, right and centre. Andy Robertson was back last night. We didn't even need him. Salah's coming back. Trent, Szoboszlai, Thiago maybe still exists. Who knows? Honestly, times are good. These are the days. Imagine being us, as that banner said last night. No, but genuinely. Final coming up. FA Cup, who knows? Premier League, who knows? Europa League, who knows? Good times. Bajcetic. Exactly. It's all gravy. Honestly, you're the best. See you later. Bye now.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a Legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, Legend tier status.